Hey, what you reading for?
Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to my channel where I talk books, literary, horror, classics, and contemporary. The 2025 Shirley Jackson Award winners have just been announced. Now, I like following these awards because it allows me to discover new authors and new publishers. And hopefully that's what we'll do with this video as we go through and look at the 6 winners. So if that sounds all right with you, I'll thank you for hitting the like button, helping out the algorithm. And thank you for subscribing if you haven't already. Your support is greatly appreciated. Let's start with the winner of the single author collection, Midwestern Gothic by Scott Thomas. Now, Scott Thomas had been on my radar for quite a while now. He had a hit back in 2017 with Curle Creek, which had been on my TBR, but I never got around to it. This is a collection of 4 novellas. The blurb here on Goodreads says 3, but there are actually 4 novellas, all set in Kansas, where Scott Thomas is from. In fact, one of the characters from Curle Creek is a character in one of the novellas. However, this is a standalone work. You apparently, according to the reviews, you do not need to be familiar with his other works to appreciate this one. A little bit of cosmic horror with a standalone door in a field and a pathway to another world. We also have a camp slasher and a voyeuristic woman. So there is apparently a lot to like in this book. It has been getting good reviews, just like Curle Creek did, so I need to check out Scott Thomas, and I'm going to check him out in the next few weeks, either with this collection, Midwestern Gothic, or maybe I'll go back in and read Curle Creek, which I'd been meaning to do anyway. With Southern Gothic being quite a popular subgenre, and a few years ago, Silvia Moreno Garcia had a hit with Mexican Gothic, and now we have Midwestern Gothic. Could this be a trend? Should I write a book called Latvian Gothic or Baltic Gothic? Even though I plan on leaving Latvia in the next few weeks. Maybe. Oh, or even better yet, I should set the story in Lebanon and call it Fertile Crescent Gothic. What do you think? Does that sound like a book you want to read? Next up, let's take a look at the edited anthology winner, which goes to Why Didn't You Just Leave? Put out by Cursed Morsels Press and edited by Julia Rios and Nadia Bulkin. There are 22 stories in this collection, and here is a list of all the authors. I do not recognize any of the authors on this list, which is fine, and which is a great thing about these kinds of anthologies, is I get to discover works from writers I had never heard of. And this collection has been getting a lot of good reviews. It is a collection of haunted house stories, and I do love this sentient house, a house as a character. I'm not a big fan of ghosts though. However, one of the reviewers was like me. He said, I'm a fan of horror but not a fan of ghosts, and this reviewer really liked the collection. Interestingly, there are trigger warnings presented for each story. I don't know how I feel about that, especially in a work of horror. I've never seen that before for an anthology. I figure with horror, maybe you should be prepared to be triggered. But on the other hand, as a reader, there are things that I don't want to read about. Sexual assault is a big one. So I could appreciate trigger warnings as a reader. However, that would just keep me away from reading things I don't want to read, which on the one hand is good. On the other hand, part of reading is to explore, is to be challenged and explore new horizons, or broaden your horizons. I don't know how I feel about these trigger warnings. If a publisher did that to my work, would I can't imagine I would react well. I don't know. I can see the pros and the cons. What is your opinion on trigger warnings put out by the publisher? in an anthology or even in a novel. I'd be curious. That's an interesting conversation. I'd be curious to explore that. Next up, we have the winner for short fiction, which goes to Three Faces of a Beheading by Arkady Martin from Uncanny Magazine, issue 58. What a beautiful cover this magazine has. Uncanny Magazine, they tend to have really interesting covers and beautiful artwork in their publications. Now, this is only 22 pages long. However, the reviews are telling me that it's quite a challenging, difficult read, but rewarding nonetheless. Framed around a story written in the second person, set in a near future world inhabited by people who seem to inhabit history through a sort of VR, virtual reality, and are under the careful watch of some vague totalitarian regiment. So heavy in the sci-fi. This reviewer said it's probably too dense to be enjoyable for a casual reader. There are footnotes. But for others, it's the perfect blend of speculative fiction and academia. At only 22 pages. This sounds quite intriguing to me. One reviewer said, I'd probably have liked it better if I had understood it. So it sounds like it's a challenging read and explores some interesting ideas. So that is appealing to me. I'm not familiar with this author, Arkady Martin, although she does have quite a list of publication credits, mostly short stories and novellas. But this work sounds interesting. Incidentally, according to the Shirley Jackson Awards, a work of short fiction is a work that is under 7,500 words, as opposed to mid-length fiction or a novelette, which is between 7,500 and 17,500 words. And the winner for the novelette goes to The 13 Ways We Turned Daryl Datson into a Monster by Kurt Favre. Apparently, this is a rather personal story from Kurt Favre with illustrations that deals with graphic bullying and body shaming. According to the reviews, it is a fairly bleak ride, phantasmagoric, and chilling. I don't know if I want to read a book about somebody being bullied. That tends to be a theme that doesn't really resonate with me. I understand that it's a problem. It's just so ugly that I don't really want to spend much time in it with it. But the ugliness, I suppose that's the point of this work. Moving on to the category of novella, which according to the Shirley Jackson Awards is a work fiction between 17,500 and 40,000 words. And the winner for Best Novella of the Year goes to Hollow Tongue by Eden Royce. Here we have a work of Southern Gothic, wherein a woman is forced to return home and confront the trauma of her childhood, which seems to be a theme in Southern Gothic. It's somebody from the South who moves out of the South and then is forced to return and deal with things. That's my assessment of Southern Gothic in a nutshell. Although with Gothic, I would expect some element of romance to be included, though that's not always the case. It seems like all you need to have to be considered Southern Gothic is to set the story in the South and have something creepy going on, something about secrets or history of a family. It's been getting very good reviews, although not that many. And I get a sense from reading the reviews that this is not exactly a horror book, but it deals with trauma, childhood trauma, and confronting that, which seems to be a trend these days. I'm noticing it more and more. People really want to, or readers or writers really want to confront childhood traumas. Is it just me, or am I noticing that a lot these days? Has that always been a fixture of literature? I know there are examples in past decades of books like that, But it seems like nowadays we're getting a lot of visiting childhood traumas. I've put a lot of effort into erasing my childhood from my mind. So the idea of revisiting childhood traumas, even if it's someone else's, it's not really that appealing to me, to be honest with you. The overall sense I'm getting from the reviews is that they like the writing style. There are perhaps quite a few loose ends that are not tied up. For me as a reader, that generally doesn't bother me. I'm happy to tie those loose ends up myself or leave them dangling. Dangling ends is interesting. And they find it a bit unrealistic, which again for me is not a problem. The story is set in Charleston, South Carolina. I have family in Charleston, South Carolina, so that's appealing. And lastly, we've come to the best novel of the year, and that distinction goes to Curdle Creek by Yvonne Battle Felton. For fans of the lottery and the Hunger Games, this novel, set in a small town with a sinister tradition, is chilling in the best possible way. Now, the lottery and the Hunger Games, I can see the similarities in dystopian backdrop. However, those seem like very different works of fiction tonally. The lottery is like literary fiction and a very short story, and the Hunger Games, I've not read it, I've not seen the movies, but it's YA. It's a strange comparison. Also, side note, Yvonne Battle Felton is a black woman, African American. Side note, just to go off on a random tangent, I want to call people or groups of people whatever they want to be called. I want to be respectful, but I don't know. African American, the hyphenating nationalities makes me very nervous. I am French and I am also American. I have two nationalities, but maybe it's the French in me. But hyphenating nationalities like African American or Asian American, Italian American, that sort of thing. In France, that is very disrespectful and not done. It would be considered an insult, as if somebody is more French than somebody else, and it's seen very badly to do that. So I understand it's a different culture, different mindset, different experiences. And in the United States, it's popular to hyphenate nationalities like that. Maybe it's the French in me, but it just makes me very nervous to say Italian American or African American. That it makes me nervous. I'll do it if people want me to, but it makes me nervous. I don't know why in America they want to just break people apart into small groups like that. Also, why am I bringing this up? Because so this book has received a blurb by Tananarive, who is the author of The Reformatory, which was last year's Bram Stoker Award winner, also a black author. And in the blurb, it ends with, "The American Gothic offers a mashup of the surreal and literary horror that will appeal to fans of Rising Shout, The Underground Railroad, and Lovecraft Country." So it gives us here three comparative titles. They're all from black authors, African American authors, and that's the only similarity I see in these books. Ring Shout, it's a horror book, but probably with some humor elements. The Underground Railroad is more of a literary fiction, and Lovecraft Country, probably more cosmic horror. The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. Incidentally, I am currently reading Colson Whitehead. The Nickel Boys just picked this up at the library yesterday, or 2 days ago, in fact. I feel like if the book description is giving me a blurb from an African American writer, and it's giving me comparative titles, all from African American titles with black characters, and my immediate impression when I was reading the blurb was, this book isn't for me, which is strange, because obviously I read broadly, I read people from all ethnicities, authors of all ethnicities. However, I read, for example, I read T'en arrives tu because because the Reformatory won the Bram Stoker Award. And I'm interested in Curdle Creek because it won the Shirley Jackson Award. And I'm reading The Nickel Boys because it won the Pulitzer. So I read books when their authors are promoted or publicized as authors. When they are publicized or marketed as with their identity, this is a gay American writer, or this is a black, an African American writer. When books are marketed based on the author's demographics or their ethnicity or sexual orientation even, I find that kind of strange. And it also kind of has me feeling like, oh, maybe this book isn't for me. And then I was thinking, well, it probably works the other way around too. You know, you have a book that's written by a white author, and it's a blurb by a white author, another white author, and the comparative titles are from white authors, and all the characters are white. And there are probably people from other ethnicities or communities who are thinking, oh, maybe this book isn't for me. So now the shoe's on the other foot, and I get to feel how it fits. So I don't know what that means. It was a reaction I had when I was reading the blurb, and I'm just throwing it out there, opening up the conversation. I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on that. And speaking of quality, this book is getting very low ratings on Goodreads. 2.77 aggregate star rating. That's very low. That doesn't mean everything. I have enjoyed books with far lower ratings than this one, but it is something. Osira, a 45-year-old widow, is an obedient follower of the strict conventions of Curdle Creek, an all-black town in rural America stuck in the past and governed by a tradition of ominous rituals. So I like ominous rituals. I like the fact that there's a 45-year-old protagonist. That's a nice change. Osira finds herself transported back in time, then into another realm where she must answer for crimes committed by Curdle Creek. Curdle Creek is a unique, inventive novel exploring themes of home, belonging, motherhood, and what we inherit from society. And I get a sense by reading the reviews, even though the reviews are not that favorable, they depict a book which is challenging, perhaps a difficult read. There are scenes of time travel which are a bit jarring, and there's elements of the supernatural or magical realism that are jarring as well. So I like the fact that it is inventive. Inventive is a word. Inventive and unique are words that come up frequently in reviews for this book. So that is especially appealing to me. And challenging, creepy, and inventive. That is what I am looking for in a book. So Curdle Creek is on my radar. So congratulations to all the winners, the authors and the publishers. My takeaway from this year's selection is Curdle Creek is on my radar. It sounds intriguing to me. Also, Scott Thomas. I need to check out Scott Thomas, and maybe I will read Midwestern Gothic, or maybe go back and read Curle Creek, or maybe both. But I should be doing that in the next few weeks. Do you have any experience with any of the authors or the books I talked about in this video? Do any of them sound appealing to you? I look forward to connecting with you in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing. I'll see you at the next video.